Hey everyone and welcome. We're going to talk about something fascinating today. One single battle back in 18th century India that literally set off a chain reaction and reshaped the entire subcontinent. It's a story about one city, one incredible victory, and a legacy, well, a legacy that's a lot more complicated than you might think.
And really, the whole story hangs on this one big question. How can a huge, game-changing victory, the kind people write legends about, also be the very thing that plants the seeds for a total disaster down the road? That's the puzzle we're trying to solve with Sirhind.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The year is 1758. We're in Sirhind, a super strategic city in the Punjab. For years, power in this region has been, well, a total mess, constantly shifting. But when this city fell to a brand new, powerful alliance, whoa, this wasn't just another battle. This was an earthquake.
So you're probably asking, who on earth managed to pull this off? Well, the answer is just fascinating. It was one of the most unlikely and frankly brilliant coalitions of the time. It's a total textbook case of, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
So this alliance, it was basically built on three totally different pillars. First up, you've got the mighty Maratha Empire, led by Raghunath Rao, who are pushing north, looking to expand. Then you have the Sikh missiles. These are confederacies of warriors fighting tooth and nail to free their homeland. And then you have the guy who somehow got them all in the same room.
Adina Beg Khan. This guy was the governor, a master political survivor. People even called him the Machiavelli of Punjab. Now get this, he was technically with the Afghans, but he was smart. He knew they couldn't be trusted for a second. So in this incredible act of self-preservation, he decides, you know what, I'm going to betray them. And he calls in the Marathas to help kick them out for good.
And to prove he wasn't messing around, Adina Beg Khan makes this absolutely mind-blowing offer. He promises the Marathas 100,000 rupees, not in total, for every single day they were marching to join him. I mean, can you imagine? That wasn't just a payment, that was a signal that the stakes were incredibly, incredibly high.
All right, so the alliance is formed, the armies are on the move, and all eyes turn to Sirhind. The stage is totally set for this epic showdown. And what happens next? Well, it was shockingly fast and unbelievably decisive.
Now this wasn't going to be a walk in the park. The city was far from empty. The alliance was staring down a pretty formidable force of about 15,000 Afghan soldiers, all dug in, behind fortifications, ready for a long, bloody fight.
So March 8th, the siege kicks off. And to their credit, the Afghan defenders put up a heck of a fight. They held out for almost 2 solid weeks. But in the end, the pressure from the Allies was just relentless. It was too much. They were outnumbered, they were outgunned, and on March 21st, the Afghan commanders finally threw in the towel.
But the victory, it came at a price, at least for the city itself. What followed was a brutal, thorough sacking. There's this one account from the time that says the plunder was so complete that not a single person was left with a single piece of clothing. Just wow. It was a victory for sure, but a really violent and destructive one.
Okay, so the fall of Sirhind wasn't like a single firecracker going off. It was like dropping a boulder into a pond. The ripples, these massive shockwaves, spread out across all of northern India, and it completely changed the game for absolutely everyone. And the first, most immediate shockwave? The total and utter collapse of Afghan morale right across the Punjab.
I mean, just try to picture this. The Afghan prince Timur Shah and his top general get the news. Sirhind has fallen. And what do? They don't rally the troops. They don't prepare for a siege in their capital of Lahore. Nope. They just pack their bags and run. They fled before the Allied army even showed up. That's how powerful the fear was. And because of that, the huge city of Lahore fell just a month later without a single shot being fired.
All right, shockwave number 2. For the Sikhs, this was so much more than just a military win. It was a monumental victory, both politically and, maybe even more importantly, symbolically.
And here's why it meant so much. You have to understand, for the Sikhs, Sirhind was a place of deep historical trauma. This was the very city where the young sons of their 10th guru, Guru Gobind Singh, had been executed years before. So taking this city back, it wasn't just strategic, it was an act of justice, of vengeance. It gave incredible power to the Sikh missiles and really helped them cement their control, paving the way for their own future kingdom.
And then there were the Marathas. For them, this was the third huge shockwave. This victory wasn't just another win on the map, it was the absolute peak of the mountain.
the high watermark for their entire empire. I mean, just think about what they accomplished. They had actually done it. They'd chased the Afghans all the way back to the Indus River. For a moment, their flag was flying over Peshawar, deep inside what we now call Pakistan. That was it. That was the farthest north their empire would ever go. This was their moment of absolute peak power.
So, sounds like a pretty triumphant story, right? You've got this brilliant alliance, a lightning-fast victory, a whole new era dawning. But this is where the whole thing takes a really dark, really ironic turn. Because hidden inside this amazing victory was the seed of an even bigger, more terrible defeat.
You see, that victory in 1758, it wasn't the end of the story. It was a massive provocation. The Afghan king himself, Ahmad Shah Durrani, was so completely humiliated by what happened to his forces in Punjab that he came roaring back with a huge army dead set on revenge. And that revenge mission led directly to the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761, an absolutely catastrophic, crushing defeat for the Marathas.
And so that's what we're left with. This final, nagging question. Was the victory at Sirhind in 1758 a brilliant strategic masterpiece that changed India forever? Or was it a massive miscalculation? A victory so complete, so total, that it made a devastating response almost inevitable? The answer? Well, like history itself, it's pretty darn complicated.